is your home. We are there for you. St. Vincent de Paul. Simply for a reason to give help to one and all. Saint
Welcome to Neighbors Helping Neighbors, the story of St. Vincent de Paul Village and Share, Southern California. A story that celebrates the way in which our communities take time to help one another. We believe that only through Neighbors Helping Neighbors can we challenge our communities to reach out to those in need. Each week we'll meet these neighbors, whether it be volunteers or staff, organizations that work in partnership with St. Vincent de Paul Village and Share, those who are helped by their neighbors, or success stories of all our programs. It's an exciting and many times heroic story of day-to-day struggle and the victory of making a real difference. Today we'll hear the stories of Jim Miller and John Crone. I'd like to begin our program with Jim Miller, chairman of the Miller Group. Welcome, Jim.
Welcome, Paul. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it sounds impressive, chairman of the Miller Group. And yet, go back a little while, and that was probably not even in your horizon.
Well, it was more like chairman of the bar stool back when before I got associated with you folks down there at St. Vincent. So it's come a long way, yes.
So when did you discover you had a serious problem? What happened to you in your life?
I've always realized from when I was young, because I was from an alcoholic family, I always realized that there was something wrong. Whether I wanted to admit or to do something about it was another story. About 7 years ago, I got real serious. I hit my bottom, and I was in Phoenix. I went through the Salvation Army alcohol program over there, and it helped out quite a bit. And I came over to San Diego, and I kind of fell off the wagon because I was on the street, and didn't have much else to do. And then I ran across St. Vincent de Paul, and that's where my life kind of turned around. By being associated, by having the opportunity to get out of the car and off the street into your meals, I was able to do some things about straightening my life out.
What are some of the processes you went through? I know you came to us for meals, and then you decided to start. How'd you get out of the whole cycle?
When I came to you, I didn't have a job or anything. I just came here. I was living out of my car, so I came there and I started just going to the meals and enjoying, the fellowship there. And I got to meet some people, and I went through a little counseling over there, and some people kind of gave me the directions. Matter of fact, I was reading a newspaper in there about a diabetic. I'm a diabetic as well. About a diabetic research program that was going on at the VA hospital, and through the efforts of your counselors, I got in touch with those people, and that's what literally saved my life, because they got me in tune with the VA. I went through a diabetic program for over a year. When I came out of there, I was clean and sober, and that's how it started.
See, I think people don't realize how great the network is. You had Salvation Army involved, St. Vincent de Paul involved, that sort of kept you alive long enough to get into a VA program to control your diabetes, but also control the drinking to begin with.
Absolutely.
I want to remind our audience, don't forget to call us at 687-1066 if you want to ask me a question or Jim a question or anything about St. Vincent de Paul. If you want to make comments or your own experiences with us, we do again encourage you, please call us at 687-1066 anytime during the show, and we'll respond to your comments or questions. But now, when I met you, it wasn't when you were actually at St. Vincent's, so I probably said hello to you in passing, but I went to the grand opening of a very fancy spa at the Palladium, the Bellissima Spa,
Right.
and I went over to this gorgeous table of food, and as you can tell, I enjoy that. And you come over to me and said, thank you, and I said, well, who are you? And then you mentioned you had come through, use our services. Why were you there?
I was there we put on I have a marketing company, but we also do catering as well. And we were there to do the catering for the Bellissima. I have a chef that does the catering, and my wife and I were both there to host the event. I didn't even know you were going to be there. But it was so ironic because I told my wife, I said, there's Father Joe, we got to go talk to him. And I came over to you and I said, Father, I've been through enough of your lines. Now come and go through mine. And it really made my wife feel extremely good, because she knew where I came from, and she knew that you folks had helped me out a lot over there, and I can't tell you how much it meant to her, and it meant a lot to me too, to let you see me.
So you could feed me.
Absolutely.
Instead of me feeding you.
But it made me feel good that you saw me, one of your people who went through your your functions over there and came out. You know, that did more for me than anything.
See, I think that's what amazed me, because I tell people what the great joy I have now is almost wherever I go. Now, going to Bellissima Spa, going to this gorgeous buffet of food, the last thing in my mind is I'm going to meet somebody who's an alcoholic, who was in our line, who got rehabbed, beyond me, but it happens every single day of the week. No matter where I go, I seem to run into somebody who availed themselves of our services, and are doing so well that you have your own catering company and then you have a marketing company. What does that mean?
Well, we do marketing for corporations. I've always learned, even on my days as chairman of the bar stool, that I was good at marketing somehow. I always could tell stories and get people to believe in what I was doing. So I developed a marketing company about 5 years ago. Actually, it was about a year after I got sober. And we market for corporations here in San Diego, and we market for corporations all over the country. And we do a lot of seminars. I'm currently doing seminars to businesses myself that we're setting up to help business understand how they can market for themselves, but also understand that the business has to have a vision. If they have a vision to help the community, then they're going to be successful. So we try to pass not only that they could be successful if they do the right marketing and apply themselves, but we also tell them that they have to have the vision and they have to have the willing to pay back the community in one way, shape, form, or another. And that's when we think they'll be successful.
That's a pet theme of yours, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Payback. Did you feel you've got to pay back, and that you've got to convince others that if we who really have a responsibility as neighbors helping neighbors.
Absolutely.
The theme of our show, to give back to the community itself. So you do seminars, then did you help them plan their
We help them plan their
campaign,
marketing strategy. We set up a marketing program for them. We'll go all the way through their product, from their product all the way through their sales and marketing, all the way through their service. We call it the wave effect. You know, if you have good sales and marketing, you have a good product, and you have good service, your wave will hit the beach. But if you don't have, if you have one of those things missing, it stops. And a part of that program is paying back the community. You know, you have to be able to recognize that you're not going to get anywhere in business, whatever you do, if you don't help the community, because that's where your profits come from.
Right, and it's also where your staff live, your employees, your customers live in the community. So the better we can make the community, the better we are. And where some of your ex-employees who got into trouble have probably ended up in one of our centers somewhere around this San Diego area. You've talked about that you want to help us bug our donors by teaching us how to do some telemarketing.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that. What does telemarketing involve?
Well, a lot of people have a bad concept of telemarketing because there's so many, to be honest with you. There's a lot of scams out there. We applaud the people who are trying to get rid of the scams. But indirectly or not, every person that works for any business in this country, whether they realize it or not, they're doing telemarketing, one way, shape, form, or another. It's just the best way to get across a message to someone about what you have to offer. You know, with St. Vincent de Paul, I think the business community really needs to understand that their taxes are going in because people are on the street. If we can get those people off the street and into productive society, then we've taken a lot of their tax money and used it right.
And we can say by your example that it's not a pipe dream.
No.
That people on the street who have alcoholic problem or any drug problems even, that they're able to be successful entrepreneurs. I mean, you have your own catering company, your own marketing company, and now you're going to give back because you're going to train us on how to do telemarketing, so we can call our donors and say, hi, just want to bring you up to date on what St. Vincent de Paul's doing, and can you help us out?
Absolutely.
And then make sure it's a legitimate plea.
Absolutely.
That reminds me, I just want to make sure I remind all of you that tomorrow, Friday, to listen to the Roger Hedgecock Show. It's on a KSDO, 12:23 o'clock. Roger's doing his entire show from the Joan Kroc Center downtown to help us raise needed funds because we're facing a little financial crisis. We need to get money donated. So we invite you to listen to his show, call in, or if you want, come on down, 15th and Imperial. We have some parking. If you park, make a donation or whatever, we'll let you take a tour of the facilities to see the places where Jim was able to eat, where he was able to meet a counselor, where other people are getting trained in education, the children in school. But we do invite you down sometime between 12:20 and 3 o'clock tomorrow at the Joan Kroc Center, 1501 Imperial. Or if you can't make it, be sure to listen in to Roger's show, and we'll have more guests on there like Jim, who are a success story, people who are battling their problems, and they're going to be the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. But we need to keep the doors open. We need to serve as many people as possible. So please listen to Roger tomorrow, 12:20, 3 o'clock. And we'll be back in a moment with another guest and Jim, and we'll continue to talk. And again, don't forget to call 687-1066 tonight, and we're glad to have you talk to us on the air or make your comments. See you in a moment.
What we're all about, there to reach out, Saint Vincent de Paul.
Every city in America has a homeless problem. But the problem is not so much the homeless as it is deciding how to best manage homelessness. We've all seen the images, but few of us have seen past the stereotypes to the very real hope that lies just beyond. Father Joe Carroll has. In 1982, his diocese gave him a temporary assignment: develop a small shelter for the homeless of San Diego, a modest outreach on behalf of the church. Little more than a decade later, the St. Vincent de Paul Village is world-renowned as a model program. A sophisticated network of facilities, full-time staffers, and volunteers providing needed services to the city's burgeoning homeless population.
It was like a celebration when I came here. I really felt like I had a new lease on life. That it was like being reborn almost, that I could be myself. I didn't have to worry about being abused. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew whatever it was, at least I was safe here, and I was taken care of. Which is another thing, the environment here I find is very conducive to studying. And I've heard people use the excuse that that it's a communal living here and that they're distracted. I had no problems. I always found a quiet place. I had counselors here who made sure that if I had any problems in my room, they made rooms available to me, which I never needed. I was really fortunate in that I had 2 roommates that were there most of the time with me. They were just lovely women. So it was like family.
There to reach out, Saint Vincent de Paul.
Welcome back to Exciting Stories of Neighbors Helping Neighbors. My guests are making a real difference in our community. I'd like to introduce John Crone, sheet metal worker for American Sheet Metal. Welcome, John. And again, Jim is remaining with us, so we'll be able to bring both of you into this. John, tell us a little bit about how you ended up needing basically the services of St. Vincent de Paul.
Well, I was married for 20 years, Father Joe, and when I was 15, I got into drugs and alcohol, peer pressure, and before I knew it, I did it all my life. You know, my wife put up with it for about as long as she could, and finally we separated and then divorced. And it wasn't until I had a terrible toothache and I was at my ex-wife's on the couch, and my older son was calling around trying to find someone that he could afford to send me to. Well, he wasn't having any luck, and someone called asking for donations from another organization, and my son explained to him what was going on, and the person on the phone directed him to send me to St. Vincent de Paul. Well, I thought I was going somewhere to get my tooth fixed, and the next thing I knew, I was in a sober living environment. And the programs they have there helped you address the problems you had in life. I had traffic warrants in every court in San Diego County. They had me take care of all of those. They had a job fair program, and I got a job at the stadium working in one of the concession stands, and just so happens that one of the people that came up to the concession stand was one of my old employers, and he said, "What are you doing there?" And I said, "I'm working." He said, "Well, we can use you." And I told him I was in sobriety, and he said, "Well, we can use you." Well, I called a few times, and finally he said, "Come in and I'll talk to you." Actually, it was his son I talked to at the stadium, and then when I went in and talked to him, he realized with one look at me that there'd been a drastic change in my life. I've been clean and sober for over 2 years now, and that's a strong thing for me. I lost everything I had, a wife that was very dear to me, and my sons never knew a father that didn't use drugs, And today they don't have to say that. And St. Vincent's turned my life around. They helped you become employable again, and which was impossible once you hit bottom. Once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go. And today I work for one of my previous employers, and he knows that I'm clean and sober, and he knows I'm dependable, and I've been with him for over a year and a half, and he's pleased with what I have become. And I don't know what to say except that my life has just turned completely around. Something.
Well, I think you said a lot. Plus, you're not only employable, which makes a lot of people happy, but from the kids' side, you're back to being lovable.
Yeah.
I think that's very important that people sometimes forget. It's a great way to start to bring families back together again and change the relationship from one of, strain to one of back to love and caring for each other. And I love hearing about miracles. So when you come in, you went through the, I guess, Challenge to Change course.
Challenge to Change, chemical dependency class, relapse education class, and then my case manager, Anthony Griffin, was right there behind me and kicking me in the butt, so to say, to keep me going in the right direction. And you don't have to do it. You can turn around and walk out the door. But if you do want to stay there, you've got to try and do something to change your life. And I am very grateful and thankful for what they've done for me. Without St. Vincent de Paul's program, who knows where I'd be today.
Well, I want to remind our audience again, call 687-1066. If you got any questions, any comments for John or Jim or myself, or just want to comment on St. Vincent de Paul, we do encourage you to call 687-1066. Jim, interesting. It was a telemarketer. Isn't that interesting?
Right.
That got John. They were calling from some other group, happened to call him. He happened to say his son said what the need was, and they connected him. So telemarketing doesn't only just raise money, awareness. It actually became a savior. I mean, it's funny. We were talking about telemarketing before you came on, saying that telemarketing is really good, but there are some scams out there, and people got to distinguish the difference. In your case, the group didn't sell you their product, but they sold you a new life by knowing about us.
Connecting me with someone that had a dental program. It was something that I wasn't ready for. I really walked in there thinking I'm getting my teeth fixed, and ended up in a sober living environment.
And we did fix the tooth, right?
Yes, you did.
Because people don't realize we have a full dental facility down there. We can do teeth, and we do replacement teeth, and partials, and full dentures, and all that puts the picture, the whole package together.
Yes, and I was also very lucky. I ran into a friend of mine that I actually went to high school with, and he ended up there at the same time. It's funny, we knew each other in high school, we didn't hang around together. 20 years later, there we are in the St. Vincent de Paul, and he knew about 12-step programs, and he grabbed me by the shoulder. His name was Lester Graham, and that man helped save my life. He grabbed me by the shoulder and took me to the 12-step meetings and showed me a different way. I learned a different way to live, and I do not ever want to go back to where I was.
Now, you want to come back as a volunteer now.
That's
Now, which of our facilities did you live at?
I lived at the Joan Kroc Center and Bishop Maher Center. And I actually did some work down there while working for American Sheet Metal. I was still staying there when I first started working for the sheet metal company. And I did some work in the new building across the street.
Oh, the Paul Morably Center.
Yes.
So you lived at two of them and you helped build the other one.
Well, I didn't help build it, but I did some work in the stainless steel work in the kitchen on the new building.
Well, that's helping build it, right?
Yes.
You did the kitchen stainless steel work. And see, that's what's amazing, I think, to people who realize the interactiveness that happens with St. Vincent de Paul. That, a telemarketer referred you to us for tooth work, you got into the other programs, then you got a job, then you end up helping build one of our centers by doing sheet metal work. I mean, it's just amazing to me over and over again how integrated all the agencies that we have in town, but St. Vincent's is just so well known out there, and we think it's important that people know about us. That's one of the reasons we do the show, is the more they know about us, the more when opportunity comes to help someone like yourselves, they say, go to St. Vincent's. And then once you go there, you have no idea. I don't think most people know what goes on in the whole structure.
Well, I expected to be in a situation where I was sleeping on a cot or something of that nature, but it is actually a different, entirely different program. You have rooms, you have beds, you have privacy. They don't, you know, I don't want to say this to you, but they don't force religion down your throat, but religion is there. And I am a religious person, but it was just not what I expected. You know, when it came about, it turned out to be a whole different program that I had no idea even existed.
Well, we have a caller, and I think you're going to recognize the voice. John?
Father Joe.
Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. Yeah, this is John's son. And I just wanted to call you up and tell you thank you. It's a miracle for giving me my father back, and it's just unbelievable the change that you guys helped him through. It's just, I just can't believe it. Such a great thing that you do for these people on the streets.
Great. Well, see, it's important that after we're finished with him, that you guys continue to love him, and
Oh, we always loved him.
right, but you know, keep working with him, because that's what keeps him motivated now.
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell you thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay.
That was my son.
That's
And
your son.
That was my older son, and I'm very proud of my sons, and they didn't have a dad to be proud of for a long time, and they are proud of me now. They are proud of me. I couldn't look them in the eyes for years. I couldn't look them in the eyes, and now I can look them in the eyes and hug them and love them, and I've spent more time with them in the last 2 years than I spent in the 25 years of their growing up, and you guys have given me a miracle. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're giving me miracles, because you give me goosebumps here. Because again, I don't always see what we do, because I'm busy raising the money, doing the shows. That I don't see what the great staff, the Anthony Griffins, are doing, that are really changing lives. Because that's what's really happening. I give them absolute authority, because they got to deal with you. Like I said, they'll kick you in the butt, they'll challenge you, but ultimately it comes down to your own decisions, right, Jim? I mean, and as a corporation, you know, for them to get into the community, it's their choice to get in or not get into the
It's their
community.
choice.
Same choice you guys made to come off the street. Have you gone back to meet any of your family that you were strained with before? Or?
Oh, sure. My father, well, I went back to Arizona for a conference with one of my clients. I did a speaking engagement for one of my clients at one of their national conferences, and I just happened to stop in a restaurant that my father was in. I knew he'd be there. I didn't, you know, the higher power brought me there, and I just wanted to tell him, you know, that, you know, he didn't have to worry about me anymore. I was okay. And you know, that he didn't have to worry about somebody coming and arresting me or getting a DWI or whatever. I told him, I said I was okay. And that meant a lot to me, that to be able to say that truthfully, that, hey, look, you know, Dad, I'm okay. I don't know if he believed me or not, but it was good to at least be able to tell him that. And my brother, Jerry, he works with me. And he's one of my managers, my right arm. And I couldn't do my business without him. But he's been there through my bottoms.
And I'll bet he thinks it's a miracle.
Oh,
what you
absolutely.
do.
He comes up to me sometimes and he says, Jim, he says, I still can't believe it. You know, I just can't believe it.
Well, I want to say thanks to Mike. He called in, but he's not on. He couldn't remain on. But Mike, thank you for the $25 donation. You know, we are in the business of raising money, so we want to remind you again that tomorrow from 12:20 to 3 o'clock, Roger Hedgecock show. Bring your checks downtown, or listen to him on 11:30 a.m. Listen to the show, hear more stories, hear ways in which you can help us. Call in to make pledges, or if you want to follow Mike's example, call 687-1066. You can tell the person answering your phone you want to make a pledge, or call it and leave it on the voicemail, or call it anytime tomorrow. That's at our office, and who knows, you might even get me answering the phone. But Mike, thank you, and thanks to all our people out there who, without those donations, we would not be hearing the stories of Jim and John today. I mean, I'm nearly teary-eyed on some of these great stories.
My father died while I was in my addiction, and I was fortunate enough to be at your center, and you had long-distance services for Christmas time, and I got to talk to my mother before she passed away. And I was working for this employer now when she did pass away, and something that wouldn't have happened in the days I was using, he was kind enough to loan me the money immediately for the plane ticket to fly back and be at her funeral. And I'm thankful to Ron Berner for doing that for me. I didn't know how to ask the man for it, and he came out of the office and offered it, and he gave me a chance. when he knew what I was before, and he gave me a chance when he knew I was in recovery. And thanks, Ron. You've done wonders for my morale and my self-worth.
I think, what both of you are telling me is, one of the stories, the things we got to get across to young people today is there's a real high on being sober.
Yeah, there is. It's like a movement. It's something to see friends of yours show up in the 12-step meetings and find out that they too are looking for a better way to live. Because I looked for it with drugs for a long time, and it just wasn't there. All it did was destroy everything I owned and had and loved.
Because I would imagine as a sheet metal to create something and to do it right is, just working is a good feeling. The relationship with your son, Jim, in your case, talking to corporations, you're a motivational speaker now, and look at where you came from. And I think the more we realize that, see that success, I know I'm motivated now to get more money raised, because I want to make sure if two guys like you come to our center again, we can keep the doors open, we can put them into the programs, continue to feed them, continue to get them back out in the field. Because without that program, without the Anthony Griffins, without the cooks down there, none of this would be true. And without the donors who make it all possible.
Sure. I know for a fact, Father, that there are people out there that are just like us, that all they need is a chance. All they need is the opportunity that we've had, John and I've had. And they'll make it, but they have to have that chance. They can't be turned away. And I believe that. And I will go to my grave preaching that, believe me.
Well, you guys keep preaching it to your companies, corporations, to everybody else, and to people in need, because sometimes you're the guy that may help a guy get into our center and put their life back together again. Because right now we're housing 855 people a night. There's 3,500 meals a day go out of our facilities. So it's a very busy, big operation, but it's making a great difference for San Diegans like yourselves. I again want to remind everybody, two things are coming up. One, the Roger Hedgecock Show tomorrow on KSEO 1130. It's on from 12:30 in the afternoon to 3 p.m. Listen to it. Come on down to the 16th and 15th and Imperial to the Joan Kroc Center. Park your car. Take a tour. See other men and women and children who are going through these same programs, making a difference. So hopefully we'll talk to you all again tomorrow on the Roger Hedgecock Show. Secondly, Monday morning we begin an art sale at our 16th and Market Street store. We have about $100,000 worth of Asian art and furnishings. So if you want to go next week to a great sale, come down at 16th and Market to St. Vincent de Paul's thrift store. A lot of good stuff. Thanks again for watching Neighbors Helping Neighbors, a weekly show every Thursday at 7 p.m. on KCOX Channel 4. We hope that the stories we share with you here about real people helping one another will inspire you to become involved, whether it be a donation of cash, volunteer time, prayers, or usable discards. Every one of you can join us in making a difference. Please take note of our address and phone number. Most importantly, join us next week for more real-life stories of Neighbors Helping Neighbors. God bless.
You don't consider what's left, but refuse to accept. But that's what